Would you like a Cars.co.za mug? Well, tough, because we don't make them anymore.
Cars.co.za.
Budget insurance. Affordable because you can't afford not to.
Theme song. Okay. Hello and welcome to the BMW iX response video. In this video, we're going to look at all of your comments on the iX. Well, not all of them because there were over 400 to date, but I've gone through all of them and I've picked out a bunch that I would like to respond to. So first of all, thank you so much for watching our iX video and giving it loads of likes and loads of comments. We love the engagement, and of course, electric vehicles are an extremely important debate right now in South Africa, and we're very happy that you are a part of it with us. So without further ado, let's get stuck into the comments. First up from Fido. Awesome car, no clutch, no exhaust, no gearbox, no emissions, a fraction of the cost to run versus petrol, charge it at home, which is free with a decent solar setup, no maintenance, brakes won't wear out with regenerative braking, a fancy BMW that you can run out of maintenance plan. Oh, burn. If you buy X5 over this, you're being silly. And then underneath that, Mr. Addy responded, and we'll put it on the screen. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically, he was taking Fido apart. So let me answer some of Fido's points and let me respond to those. Yes, no clutch, no exhaust, no gearbox, no emissions. The drivetrain of an electric car is very simple. The motors are basically have one moving part. They're about that big. You never really need to service them. However, with an expensive car like the iX, I do foresee that there will be some serviceable items. For instance, the air suspension. We all know air suspension can give problems after a few years, so that's probably going to need servicing. But overall, an electric car has something like a third of the moving parts of a traditional combustion engine. So hopefully maintenance will be about a third of that as well. Okay, let's move on. Dem Punza. I wonder how long you will take to drive from Johannesburg to Cape Town with this car, including charging it along the way. Very good question. Right. Let's get into how long it takes to charge an electric car, because there's actually very simple maths behind it. So if you have a 111 kilowatt hour battery in the iX, of which 105 is usable, so let's just call it 100 for argument's sake, and you plug it into a 50 kilowatt charger, that means you're charging a 100 kilowatt battery in 2 hours. 50 kilowatt charger is known as a fast charger in South Africa. However, in the States, they're already at 250 kilowatt chargers, and in some places in Europe. So basically, that's the math. So if you're at home and you've got a BMW wall box, that pushes out 11 kilowatts per hour, which means that you can go from 0 to 100 in an 111 kilowatt hour battery in 10 hours. So that's how this all works. So if you are doing a long drive, say from Joburg to Cape Town, it is possible. We spent some time with the gent from Rubicon who owns that really cool Tesla Model X that we filmed on the channel, and he has driven that car all around the country. He's done every conceivable road trip you can think of in South Africa. It is possible. However, it does take quite a bit of planning. Most of the time, if you arrive at a lunch stop and there's a fast charger available, you can pretty much charge back to full in about 90 minutes. So enough time to have a leisurely lunch and get back on the road. However, think about it this way. Let's say you get to the lunch spot and there's a fast charger and there's already 2 people occupying the fast charger and they've just started. That means you have to wait an hour and a half to plug your car in and then another hour and a half to charge your car. So that's not great. Look, the thing is about doing road trips in electric vehicles, when you've got a range like the iX has of a claimed 630 kilometers, let's say 500 Ks in the real world, the problem starts to become about the infrastructure that's available on the highways for you to use, which in countries like England is very, very good. However, in countries like ours, it's not very good at the moment. And so electric vehicles are hamstrung by the infrastructure we have available. Right now, I would say if you drive often on long journeys, say over 500 kilometers, an electric vehicle is not the right car for you unless it's your second car and you've got another vehicle to do those long journeys. That's an important point to remember. Let's move on. Right, Mr. CA. Sure, ... Let's all buy electric cars when the government in our country can't even supply electricity to our homes. Makes perfect sense. Eye roll emoji. 3 eye roll emojis. First of all, Mr. CA, can I just say I love your positive attitude. It's so refreshing to see it on the channel. Now, yes, obviously South Africa has major electricity supply issues. However, the one thing that I think people always forget is that electric vehicles are mostly charged at night at their owners' homes. And South Africa produces a lot of electricity in the day, and because most of it is coal, which is another point I'll get to, we can't exactly turn off the coal power stations at night. And so we produce roughly the same amount of electricity at night as we do during the day, which is to say a metric ton of electricity is available at night because we're all asleep, and that's when electric vehicles get charged. So actually, if you consider it that way, South Africa has lots of electricity capacity to charge electric vehicles. Zander de Kock comments, how long does it take to charge from, say, 10% to 80%? Normal charging versus fast charging. In a performance SUV, I can do 500 kilometers on a tank of gas, but refilling takes about 5 minutes, 6 if they wash your windscreen. Haha. Guys got jokes. To which Kadlejo Machlase replied, I noticed he neglected to go over that point, he being me, along with what seems to be a tiny boot space. Okay, quick one on the boot space. It's not bad. It's about 20% smaller than a BMW X5. I'm sorry we didn't show it very clearly in the video. We'll put a couple of shots of it on the screen right now for you. Decent boot for an electric car. Significantly better than, say, the Jaguar I-Pace, but not as big as, say, the one in the Audi e-tron Sportback, which has a really nice boot. So I think I've argued this, how long does it take to charge this car, depending on the power source that you're using. Now, a house plug is about 3 kilowatts. You can buy a generic EV charger like we have in our head office in Gauteng, that's about 7 kilowatts. The wall box that BMW gives you for free, that's about 11 kilowatts. And a fast charger is about 50 kilowatts if you go down to a dealership. And you just divide the size of the battery by the power output, and that gives you the hours that it takes to charge the car. But on BMW's website, how they quote it is, how much time do you need to get an extra 100 Ks of range into the battery? And on your wall box at home, it's 1:40, and on a fast charger, it's 20 minutes. So that's a good way of thinking, okay, maybe you're running a little bit low, you're out and about in town, and you need 100 Ks of range a little bit to get home. You pop into a fast charger, grab a cup of coffee, 20 minutes, you got 100 Ks on the range. Suppose in 10 minutes you got 50 Ks on the range. That's definitely enough to get you home. I think at this point, let me make the point that I drove the car for 4 weeks and I charged it twice, right? I did about 1,000 Ks in 4 weeks. That's about 250 Ks a week. I think that's a very realistic number for most South Africans. So if you're only having to charge your car once every 2 weeks, let's say once every week, you know, that for me negates all the issues we have around load shedding. You can definitely find some time once a week or once every 2 weeks to charge your car. I think a lot of people overestimate how many kilometers they really do on a daily basis. And yes, I think range anxiety, you know, someone made a comment, a really good comment on one of our Tesla videos. We'll put it up on the screen. That range anxiety is not about how much range you have left. It's actually about how long it's going to take you to recharge your car. And I think that's a really, really good point. But the only way, and I said this in the video, the best way to run an electric vehicle is to charge it at home overnight. If you're constantly running around looking for chargers, it's a massive faff. It becomes very inconvenient. However, if you get home, you plug it in like a cell phone, you forget about it, you wake up in the morning, you've got a full battery and you carry on with your day. That is the most relaxing way the most convenient way to own an EV. And you'll probably find that you don't even need to plug it in every night. You'll find that every 4, 5, 7 days you'll get home and plug it in. That's how I see EV ownership working. Obviously, some cars are different. The Mini SE has a much smaller range. That's the sort of car you're probably going to have to charge every night or every second night. Andy's Chocho. So it doesn't change colors with a crying emoji and a broken heart and a question mark. No, the one I drove didn't. While I was driving it, BMW revealed that color shifting technology in Las Vegas. I'm sure it'll come to South Africa. I can't imagine it wouldn't. It'll be an optional extra, obviously, on your iX. Mpumi Mtembu, yo, I can't believe the age of a good sounding combustion engine is coming to an end this rapid. Mpumi, I don't think you have to worry too much about that. I mean, BMW recently announced that they're working on a new generation of engines. Look, I think internal combustion is going to be with us for a long time, especially in countries like South Africa, where it's going to take a while to roll out the infrastructure we need to move to a position where EVs dominate the market. I mean, I can't imagine a South Africa really without, say, diesel buckies. You know, we're just going to have to make cleaner diesel, or maybe hybrid buckies could be pretty cool as well. And things are moving in that direction as well. I don't think it's too long till we'll see a nice electric bucky in this country, probably originate out of China, but how cool if we got the Ford F-150 Lightning. But I would say for the next 2 decades, we're probably still going to see the dominance of the ICE engine in this country. And also, buy yourself a classic. It's a great time to buy a classic right now. You know, we've got our classic brand. It's called Sentimental. It's all about the love for classic cars. I've just bought myself a classic E39 M5. Sounds fantastic. So if you really want a fantastic sounding car, I think you're going to have to buy something a bit older, but you'll love it. And then you can have a small, cheap EV to drive from Monday to Friday, and all the money you save on fuel, you can spend on repairing your classic car. Brilliant. Franny Swanny says, to me, the biggest positive is low maintenance costs, no more mechanics or regular services to screw up your vehicle and ruin your bank balance, to which Rachel Kasoon replied, except after 10 years when the battery cells die and you need to pay 100k to replace it, while it costs 5k to rebuild an engine, and that's after 500,000 kilometers, for example. That's the main issue. I don't think the battery life is a bigger issue as people think it is. So BMW offers an HO 100,000 kilometer warranty on the battery. Now, I think that is, first of all, not great. HO 100,000 is not a particularly good combination of numbers, in my opinion. However, I do think they're just playing it safe at the moment and being a bit conservative. There are tons of stories of Teslas getting to 500,000 kilometers on the same battery. What I do think this is going to do is potentially affect the used car pricing of electric cars. So let's say you've had your electric car for 6 years and you want to sell it. The next buyer might be looking at that and going, that's a 6-year-old battery and it's only got 2 years left on the battery warranty. It is going to be expensive to replace. That's potentially where this will affect the used cars. But on technical terms, from a technical point of view, I think most owners will never have to worry about replacing the battery. And of course, battery tech gets better all the time. Tesla are pretty close to that 1,000,000-mile battery that they've been banging on about forever. Panasonic is releasing some really interesting new battery tech. This stuff's going to get better all the time. I think most people keep their cars for 3 to 5 years. And so at least for the first owner, the battery is definitely not going to be a problem. Neo Moselane, thanks for commenting. I visited BMW earlier today. BMW promises free electric charge in all BMW dealers. Yeah, right now it's free. It's free to charge a BMW at a BMW dealership. It's even free at some shopping malls as well with your BMW Charge Now card, which is amazing. Free electricity. I mean, who's going to give you free petrol? No one. Absolutely no one is going to give you free petrol. Look, I don't think it's going to be that way forever. At some point, you know, this is going to start hurting the dealers when there's just hundreds of people charging their cars for free a week. I mean, electricity, you know, is only ever going to go up in price. But yes, right now it is free to charge your BMW at a dealership. And actually, while I had the car, that's what I did, because I live in an apartment. I can't charge it at home. So I just popped over to Century City, SMG, plugged it into the fast charging, and yeah, free tank of gas. It was quite a nice feeling, not going to lie. Fabian, thanks for commenting. Having driven the car the last 2 weeks, I can say everything you say is true. Ha! Yes, validation. Thanks, Fabian. It's hard to put it in words, but I've never driven anything that is as close to it when it comes to refinement. That's what I said. When I had to go back to my 3 Series, I had similar feelings when I had to drive a VW Polo compared to the 3 Series. Autobahn consumption, okay, is over in Germany, was about 26 kilowatt hours per 100 in the German winter at -3. City consumption was 22. So that's quite impressive because cold weather does affect battery performance. So that's really nice to hear. Someone who spent 2 weeks in the car. And I think the point he makes is once you've driven something with an electric drivetrain and you get back into an internal combustion engine, I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but it feels like your senses are being assaulted by noise and vibration. It's quite an incredible thing. I think because we've all grown up with internal combustion, it's the only thing we've ever experienced. Your brain kind of dials it out, right? You don't really hear the engine anymore unless it's, I don't know, particularly loud diesel or something like that. You don't really feel the vibrations anymore. Your brain and your body just kind of tune that stuff out. But once you spent a couple of weeks in an electric vehicle and you get back into an ICE car, it is disturbingly loud. It drives you a little bit crazy initially. I've been driving a 420D, the brand new 420D, and to me it's like lying underneath a farm tractor compared to driving the BMW iX. I really hope everyone gets to experience an electric vehicle soon, so you have that reference point, that comparison between EV and ICE. It's just incredible how smooth and quiet an EV is. Almost too quiet, actually. That's why BMW has those sounds that you can put on. Felix, a major problem is that lithium mining is still a massive headache and extremely challenging environmental obstacle. Yes, I do agree. It is problematic. It's going to be problematic for a little while. When we're trying to get off, for instance, using cobalt in batteries, which is that terrible stuff that we dig out of the Congo, and there's all those labor issues around that. I don't think anyone's trying to paper over these issues, although the manufacturers would probably like us to forget about it. However, recently, there have been some very exciting developments in this field. So a gentleman called JB Straubel, who helped found Tesla, he's gone on his own and he started a electric car battery recycling facility. The reality is that all of the components inside a cell, all of those chemicals, for instance, or the elements, can be recycled. And JB Straubel's company has figured out how to do it. It's not easy. It's not a particularly easy process. It does require a little bit of energy. However, once all those components are broken down into their separate elements, you can then rebuild it into another battery. And recently, there was an interview with him online, and he says that recycling batteries has now just become profitable. And that's a good thing, because when things start getting profitable, that's when everyone gets interested and the industry starts to take off. So big developments there, and I think it's going to make a big difference in the world of EVs and a big difference in offsetting the carbon that's emitted from lithium mining. Great looking car and good range, but in capital letters, Eskom, with an emoji of a man shaking his head. I think it's very small, can't really see it. Maybe it's like a disappointed emoji. Not sure what that is. To which Lezuko replied, Eskom is not a problem at all for electric cars. Load shedding lasts about 2 hours at a time. You can use your car to light up your house during load shedding, then charge it after 2 hours of blackout. Okay, so there's 2 points Lezuko makes, which I'd like to get into there. One, yes, I think if load shedding carries on in its current form, please goodness, or it just goes away. 2 hours a night, basically, or 2 hours during the day is how much it affects you. And if the longest it takes to charge your car, particularly the iX, which is the biggest battery you can get on the market right now, if it's 10 hours, that means, and from 0 to 100, right, which you're never really going to do. You're not going to run your car down to 0, and you don't need to charge it to 100 all the time. You just need 10 hours a night where you can charge the car. Maximum, right? But as I said, you'll probably find that you'll charge it once a week, and you won't charge it for 10 hours because you're not going to run it to 0. So I think that negates the load shedding issue. Maybe I'm being delusional. Leave a comment in the comments below and tell me I'm wrong, or argue with me. I'm here to debate the issue. The other point that he makes is you can use your car to light up your house. Now, not all electric cars can do this. The Nissan Leaf can do it, and the Ford F-150 Lightning can do it. Maybe there's others that I haven't read about, but you need a special wall box to do that, and it needs to be specially integrated into the electric system of your home. So the idea is, in countries with off-peak and on-peak electricity tariffs, you charge your car at night during off-peak hours, so you pay less for your electricity, and then you can run your house off of the battery in your car during times when electricity is more expensive. In this country, that would be pretty damn cool because of load shedding. So if there's charge in the car, you can plug the car in and run your house on it, or at least part of your house, during load shedding. So right now, if I'm not mistaken, there isn't an EV on sale in South Africa that can do that, but they do exist. The technology exists, it has existed for a while, and I'm sure it's something that will come to this country soon. Luzuko, I'm happy EVs are coming to South Africa. Me too. Now we need more EVs at around south of 350,000 Rand. That's tough, eh? I mean, a Polo costs 400 odd thousand Rand now, a top spec Polo. Batteries are still expensive. I don't think we'll see 350,000 Rand EVs for a while. However, I do think they'll get south of 500,000 Rand pretty soon, especially if the Chinese start coming here. So for instance, GWM, which makes Haval, they also have a brand called Aura, and they have a car called the Aura Cat. I'm not joking, literally, like named after a house cat. And that is on sale for less than the equivalent of 500,000 Rand in the UK. It's got a very decent range of 300 kilometers. I think it looks pretty cool as well. Hopefully that car will come to South Africa. I think that's going to be the first one under 500,000 Rand. So they are out there. The Renault Zoe, for instance, is quite cheap. The Honda E is relatively cheap. There's some good MGs, electric MGs that are on sale in the UK, which are also quite cheap. Yeah, please bring them here. Manufacturers, we want them. I really do think they will sell in this country. And lastly, Just Watchin' 9 on Dalmanet. Interesting name. I have yet to see anyone in their videos open the hood. Is there storage there, or is the drivetrain tucked in there? Very good question, because this perplexed us while we were shooting the car. However, I've done some research. There is a way to open the hood. They just don't want you to. There's no button for it or lever or anything like that. There's actually two little wires, one hiding in the passenger footwell, one hiding in the driver footwell, which you have to pull at the same time to get underneath the hood. And we'll put a picture of what's underneath there up on the screen. It's just all wires and drivetrain and very expensive stuff that BMW does not want you to fiddle with. There's absolutely no storage space under the fruit, unfortunately. So yeah, they made it pretty difficult to open the hood. Thanks very much for joining me as we went through your comments on the iX video. I think this is a super important subject right now in South Africa. I also think that 2022 is going to be the year when the electric vehicle landscape changes quite significantly in this country. I have a feeling we're going to be talking about EVs a lot this year. So stick around, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a video. If you're interested in some of our exclusive merchandise like I'm wearing in this video, you'll find it on Cars.co.za/shop. You'll also find cool model cars that we specially import from overseas. You won't find them anywhere else. And of course, check out all the written content on the motoring news section of Cars.co.za. Right, dream, search, drive, go find your next car on our sites and tell me what you bought. Until the next one, be safe. Bye. Thanks for watching. Now, did you know that Cars.co.za has a brilliant app? It's actually one of the most popular apps in South Africa, and that's because it's actually really bloody good to use. You can save your favorites. So while you're shopping, if you're taking a couple of weeks to shop, you just save your favorites so you don't lose them. And it's also a brilliant way of finding new car specs and pricing. It's incredibly detailed. I use it all the time. The link to the app is in the description below. You can get it on iOS and Android, and it's in the Huawei app gallery, I think it's called. Yes, that is what it's called. Cool, alrighty, and I'm done. Good? Okay.
Budget insurance. Affordable because you can't afford not to.
Cars.co.za